Or am I the host?
Recording.
Okay,
Today is the
recording.
opposite. We are recording Teach. This is not interviewing. This is being interviewed. So to
Yes.
change a
Do we
little bit.
start? Do you want to start already, Tabio? Do you want to wait a couple more minutes? Let's wait, maybe a couple minutes, or
Start. People are arriving and we are recording so people can watch that later.
okay. Yes. Just one moment, please. Just give me 1 second myself. I'm getting a glass of water ready here.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I can start. Why don't I start, Tabitha, if you're recording? So let me, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Tish Tomowski. I'm the founder of HealingALS.org, and Scott is my co-founder. So when we started Healing ALS, we were not, I don't think we weren't married. Oh yeah, we were, because we started out as Health Advocates Worldwide. Yeah, we started out as Health Advocates Worldwide. But anyway, my story actually started in my 40s. I was a software engineer for Verizon. I had been doing software engineering for quite a while. I didn't have any problems. And all of a sudden, what I noticed is I was having trouble coding, like things that were, I figured I should be able to knock out in a day. It was taking me all week. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I had learned like 7 languages, and like it's the 8th language. So why can't I learn it? It was just strange, because it's syntax. Once you learn so many software languages, it's just not a big deal. And I couldn't learn it. And so what happened was, and then right around the same time, they offered me a promotion to project manager. So then I would be managing the software engineers, and I would got a raise in pay. And let me tell you, the level of thinking required for writing software is much higher level than the level of thinking required to manage people, which is, you do budgets and run meetings and do emails and, organize things. That's very easy. Spreadsheets, all that stuff is easy. I had no trouble with that. So, they say that Alzheimer's and dementia starts 20 years earlier than it really does. Well, that makes sense to me, because mine started in my 40s, early 40s. So, and again, I would never have noticed it. If I had already been promoted, I probably never would have noticed it. But it was because I was writing software and I was doing some pretty high level thinking and managing, it's like kind of like when you write, it's like you've got like 20 lines of logic kind of going in your head all at the same time, and you're closing loops and things like
But
that.
it
So you
progressively got worse.
But anyway,
stress.
yeah. So yeah, the stress was another thing. So that I noticed. Then I got divorced. The divorce started when I was like 46. And then then the stress level goes out the window. And of course my brain didn't work, but I wasn't worried about my brain. Interesting, in my early 40s, I'm like, okay, this is what happens in old age. Like, stupid me thinking 40s is old age, it's just the way it is. I have to accept it, And then, but anyway, once the divorce started, that was super stressful. But again, I wasn't worried, because nobody, when they're stressed out, can think straight. And I know that. So I wasn't really worried about it. But after the divorce was final and things had settled down and the kids were settled, and, just things were, the stress went away. And I would say, I was happy. But what the problem is, all my dementia symptoms did not go away. I really had trouble writing things that I couldn't do, things that were more than like 2-3 steps. If it was 2 steps, I had no problem. So I'm going to give you an example. I would write a bill. Okay. Now I could write an electronic bill, no problem. Okay. So it's more than my memory. Okay. So dementia is 2 things. It's your frontal lobe, your executive function, and it's your hippocampus with your memory. For me, it was mostly here. That's when I was noticing it the most. But a lot of people with dementia, they get it here first and then it goes here. But anyway, so I could not write this bill. So I had this bill. If I could do 2 steps. I could check my account and write the bill online. That was 2 steps. I was able to do that, no problem. I had one bill that was a paper bill, and it was very hard. So I had to go ahead and I had to find the bill. That was a real challenge. Okay. Then I had to find my checkbook. That was another real challenge. I had to find a pen. I had to go to my account and see if I had enough money in the account. Okay, that was another step. I had to find a stamp. Okay. The envelope, it was generally in there, but knowing me, I kind of separated it from the bill. So often had to find the envelope too. I had to write the check. I had to stuff the envelope, put the stamp in, and get it out to the mailbox. That's like 10 steps. I had to allow 3 hours for those 10 steps. Okay,
Wow.
this is a 5-minute task. Okay, maybe 7 minutes if you have to go to the computer, check your account, write the bill. I mean, it's really, 5-6 minutes task. And it would take me 3 hours. And the other example that I give was packing a suitcase. If I pack a suitcase for a weekend, in fact, I just did it the other day, it took me maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes to pack. Maybe 30. Doesn't take that long to pack for a weekend. I had to allow all day, like 6 to 8 hours to pack for a weekend, like, because I kept getting distracted. Like I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do things. So anyway, I got tested for heavy metals. By the way, on top of this, my grandmother died of Alzheimer's dementia. My mother died of Alzheimer's dementia. So I know I was traumatized when I was 12. My task was to babysit my grandmother. Okay. Now, everybody else went shopping. And since I didn't need anything, I didn't need shoes, I didn't need coat, I didn't need anything. They all went out with my grandfather, and I was tasked with staying with my grandmother. And my grandmother, every 5 minutes, would ask where everybody was, like every 5 minutes. Like, and this went on for 4 hours. So it's pretty, I'm like, whoa. And I watched my grandmother decline. And the very last time I saw my grandmother, so she was first at 68, 69 at that age was when she got really bad, because she would leave. They lived in Toronto, Canada, and she would drive down to the downtown and go shopping and then take the subway back, forgetting that she had driven. And then, of course, my grandfather couldn't find her car. Okay. So anyway, that was a whole thing. But the last time I saw her, I had a 9-month-old, and you could go like this, nothing. You could go like this, nothing. So when you have a baby, and I was holding my child, and my child, and every single noise, every single light, they're there. And my grandmother was in a fetal position in her wheelchair at the nursing home, and really couldn't do anything. She was taken very good care of because my grandfather had enough money. And so she had a private nurse all day. So she was washed, she was fed, she was taken outside every day, gotten dressed every day. But I looked at I went home to my husband that night and said, I'm going to figure out a way. I was 26 at the time. I said, I'm going to figure out a way to do myself in. There's no way I am going to ever live like that. Like, well, before I get to that point, I'll take pills. I don't know what I'll do. I'll figure it out. But anyway, so fast forward to then my mother gets diagnosed, and I find all these people that have reversed Alzheimer's dementia. And I'm like, why? How could this not be true? Wait a minute. If it would be all over the news. Well, Scott was a journalist, worked for NBC, CBS, ABC for like 30 years. And he's like, well, let's go see it. And we contacted these people. Like, we went online. If they had written a book, we wrote the publisher and said, how do we get in touch? They emailed them. Anyway, we interviewed people with Alzheimer's dementia as well as ALS. So that's sort of, we kind of met Eric Edney, because I kept doing my Alzheimer's research, kept doing Eric Edney, and he was a ALS reversal. He gave us a bunch more. So we ended up filming Alzheimer's and reversals and ALS reversals kind of in one big, huge trip. And these stories were real. We talked to their doctors. We had one woman in her 90s, and that we looked at the neurologist report, cannot. And 2 years later, can. She was able to do everything that she couldn't do. She had to fight to go back to court because her son took over her, wanted to take over her finances. Right. And they gave her back her rights to her own finances.
Wow, that's a big thing.
So anyway, so one of the things is, so anyway, I got my test for heavy metals. I was very high in lead, very high in mercury, also some cadmium and arsenic. I tried everything. I tried chelators. I tried, there's just a whole bunch of, you start doing research. So I just tried everything that I could, because what's happening is your brain is going downhill and you're kind of feeling like you're fighting against time. And so I learned, you can't, one of the Alzheimer's reversals, he couldn't eat any artificial flavors, colors, and sweeteners. So he would get lost in his own neighborhood if he ate anything artificial. He used to go get a donut. Now, I don't know whether it was the artificial vanilla or the sugar, but either way, he could not think straight. He would get lost. He couldn't find his way home. And yet, when he didn't eat any of that, he was fine. Lived many more years, wrote a book, in fact. So anyway, the point is that this reversal of every chronic disease out there is real. Neurological diseases, cancer, diabetes, like everything is definitely reversible. I just had to find a way to reverse it. And if you want like the long story short, I tried a whole bunch of things. It was like a 3-year journey. And I would say about the 3rd year, and I couldn't work. By the way, I couldn't work at a real job. I worked at the deli, no problem. I could work ski instruction because that didn't require a whole lot of brain power. I had to show up for work. I could do that. I've been ski instructing for 20 years, so it didn't matter. I could do that with my eyes closed. I could stock shelves. I could run a cash register. I could make sandwiches. But you asked me to do higher level thinking, and it was really difficult.
Right.
So anyway, I would say, and I remember being very, very frustrated, and I remember crying because it was like 3 years, I've tried everything, nothing is working. So what I can tell you is you go down and about that same time, I found like one of my products was a Cia. So I had been taking that though, and it did help. And some of the chelators definitely helped. And I had gotten my amalgams out by then, but that took like 18 months. I got them out slowly. All of these things helped, but my brain was still not working. I was still not sharp. And so, and I would say the thing that made the most, and I'm sure all these other things, I was taking N-acetylcysteine, I was taking, vitamin D, vitamin B complex, there's the basic set of vitamins. Coenzyme Q10, I took that every day. So there were certain core, maybe 10 core vitamins that I took. All of these things help, but they still didn't solve the problem. And then I did a sauna. Like I tried this sauna, and it was a $400 sauna. And I talked to a medical doctor in Florida, and she had tried oral chelation. She tried all these chelators. She tried IV chelation. She tried everything. She could not get her mercury levels down no matter what she did. She did the sauna for 6 months, and 6 months on the sauna, an hour a day for 6 months. It went all the way down. So for her, that was a huge help. I would say I was doing it for about half an hour a day. I had trouble with the heat, but I would do it for about a half an hour, about 4 days a week. And after about 4 months, I could feel my brain clearing. I could feel it. I'm like, wow, my brain is coming back. Like I could just feel it. And so for me, the biggest difference was the sauna. It was inexpensive. I found out later the sauna gets out heavy metals, molds, chemicals, pesticides. So you're getting out a whole bunch of things, not just the heavy metals. But for me, there's no question that was it the heavy metals? Was it the mold? I don't know. But I do know that the sauna was, now maybe if I hadn't been I was doing a ketogenic diet also. So I was not eating a lot of carbs. I was eating some, but not a lot. I just kind of was very careful. I was careful with sugar and grains. I just knew that those were not good for me. They're inflammatory. I knew that. And so really I just felt like such a difference. Like it was just a huge difference. I just like, wow, I'm getting my brain back. Now I can say, years later, well over a decade later, I'm way sharper. I can even write simple code now that I haven't been able to do since my 40s. So to be able to do that is huge. So I would say my brain keeps getting improvement as I get older. instead of getting worse. I feel like my brain is actually
Right.
getting better and better.
The same.
That's
I can tell.
so that's
Your
an
brain is
amazing
amazing, Tish.
it's an amazing story, really amazing. Okay, so
Wait a minute, I
you
want to say one more
mentioned,
before we
yeah, go
start.
ahead.
I've got to say one more thing.
Go
The
ahead.
fear that I had since my 20s. So
Right.
I saw my grandmother, and I'm like, my grandmother's diagnosed, my mother's diagnosed, you know, you have this fear saying this could happen to me. And then I remember talking to my mother, and she said, well, maybe it'll skip a generation. And she said, that's
Okay.
good. I said, that's good for you. It's not good for me.
Not for her. Not
But
for her.
the thing is, it was a fear of how many more years do I have left when my brain actually works? And
Right.
that fear is gone. It's one, I can't tell you what a difference. When I leave the planet, I'm going to die. We're all going to die. But my brain's going to be sharp. And that's it's a huge relief. I can't tell you, you know, 1 in 10 people at age 65 has Alzheimer's dementia in the US. I don't know what the other countries are, but I assume it's pretty similar in the West.
It's pretty similar, I'm sure.
By the time you're 85, it's 1 in 2. That's
One in
That's
two.
scary. That's
How?
really scary. Eh? That's really
Wow.
scary. Yeah.
so
And you're right. So this fear motivated you to find the solution.
well,
And
no,
you
it
were,
was because I couldn't function. It wasn't a fear. It was
yeah.
I couldn't function. I really kind of forgot about it. I'm just telling you, it's in the back of your mind, but you push it to the back because you got to live your life. You got to raise your children. You got to do your career. It's still it's sitting there in the back of your mind. I was living my life, but when I had the stress of the divorce and I couldn't get my brain back, that was really when that hit me. And then and I found all these people that had reversed Alzheimer's and ALS. I was like blown away. I'm like,
So
I can't
great.
believe
So
they don't have.
great that you mentioned that. It's fantastic. So okay. So you started. What made you? I know there is also a beautiful story behind how you decided first of all to work mainly with ALS instead of dementia, which would make more sense in your case. But you decided to go for that. There's a nice, beautiful story behind that. Could you
Yeah, I
tell
didn't
us?
decide. It was decided for me.
It
So we
was
met.
decided for you.
Yeah. So in every time I would do an Alzheimer's search on a book, I would find Eric Edney's book. And so I'm like, it kept coming up over and over and over again. So finally, I email him and, get his ALS story. So we originally started, we're going to go visit him and start with ALS. That was going to be a practice thing. And then we were going to do Alzheimer's. But we filmed both. But that was kind of the thought. We started with that. And then this went on for a few years because we were putting stuff on YouTube and things like that. And we were doing Alzheimer's. We were doing Alzheimer's talks at libraries about reversing Alzheimer's. But God told us in 2014 very clearly. We had done a big thing for Alzheimer's in late 2014, but I got this stop working on Alzheimer's and just work on ALS. And when you get hit in the head, when God tells you to do something in 4 different ways, 5 different ways, it was no question that we were being, so we had helped start a nonprofit and we backed away from Alzheimer's and just started working on ALS. But you obey. You don't just say, well, I know better. You just say, maybe God knows better in this case. And so we just worked on ALS from 15 on. And in 19, I found out why when we did the conference. So we've been working on ALS. I know why now that we were told, and in infinite wisdom, believe me, we were much better off still focusing on ALS. We do intend to solve ALS and then MS and Parkinson's and then Alzheimer's and autism. How's that?
But I actually think that even though you have chosen or it was as you say chosen for you to concentrate on ALS, actually we see very clearly, and that's why that's the reason for this interview as well, that these 47 steps that I'm sure you're gonna talk about in the next, they are good for everybody. First of all,
Yes.
we believe very strongly that everybody in the planet is a little sick or a lot sick. Everybody has heavy metals. Everybody has agrotoxics. Everything is affecting us. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and the things that they put in our minds, that's even worse. So we are really believers that you have come up with something so great with these 47 steps, that will help heal, as you wish, not only ALS people, but many, many, many people in the world. If they just do at least 60 or 70% of them and achieve them, we are sure that they are going to achieve so much. And you are a witness to it. You cannot tell us. And later on, maybe we'll talk about the registry a little bit, about the science behind all what you have. So tell
Show
us
how
a
that
little bit
works.
about how,
So, yeah.
tell us a little bit about how the 47 steps came to be and what they are.
Okay, so what happened was we went traveling around the country and we were focusing on ALS. We found out that we just met, I don't know how many, but we probably easily went to 50 or 60 people's houses with ALS. So when you go to people's houses and you see what they're doing and how they're living and what they're working on, what we found was that people were missing things. So they were doing a lot of things to heal. So they would be doing like 10 really great things to heal. Okay. And they're going on the right track, but there would be like 2 or 3 pieces that were very obvious to us that they were missing. Like one of them had a family room right next to a garage that was full of pesticides and petroleum products, and you could smell it. And it's coming right in through the wall.
You can smell the solvents in the wall.
And so here he is breathing all day pesticides and solvents.
Imagine.
And he didn't even know it.
And a lot of places didn't know they were full of mold either. The mold was the sign.
Yeah, mold and
Mold is a big issue, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the mold thing is gigantic. I mean, it's really big and it's solvable. So we've just got it. That is probably, it's when we first started this back in 2010, that was when we did the first interview with Eric Edney. Heavy metals was probably the largest cause of both ALS and dementia, Alzheimer's dementia. Now, I would say it's mold. And the reason is because of all the Wi-Fi, the 3G, the 4G, the 5G is getting stronger and stronger. Everybody's got Wi-Fi now. And Dr. Cowden explained that they did a study back in 2007 of a Petri dish full of mold. Now, the mycotoxins are the poop of the mold. And so you have a Petri dish sitting beside a router and a Petri dish like away. The mycotoxins were 600 times more toxic, 600 times in the presence of
Wi-Fi,
EMFs, all that stuff. So,
and they grow faster too, no? They grow faster as well, right?
Well, they're growing 600 times faster.
Wi-Fi is a carrier too. So just like you see lint in the air that carries with electrical, or you rub your plug and you get shocked. The Wi-Fi is actually carrying that mold into the air off of the moldy, dusty areas, and you're breathing that constantly. So Wi-Fi is a carrier of the mycotoxins of the mold, and the mycotoxins are the poop of the mold.
So mold has been, mold has been around for 30 years. And I mean, 50, 100, thousands of years. In the Bible, they said, don't live in moldy buildings. Okay. But that's fine. We know that you have a super, super moldy building. You need to move. Okay. But then you've got that's for like a very small percentage, like less than 5%. The rest of the houses used to be safe. They had low levels of mold. All of a sudden, in the presence of the 3G, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, all of a sudden now they're dangerous. Whereas, 30 years ago, they were not dangerous houses to live in, and now they are because they had low levels of mold. Well, now those are 600 times more toxic than they were before. So the mold is a big deal.
Big issue. And I can imagine not only at home, but the working places, the buildings, they have all the air conditioner conducts full of mold. Imagine that, breathing not only at home, but then at work as well. So you are walking around most of the day, breathing all this stuff. So
let me show you am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to make you a host, Tish.
Great, thank you.
It is very important to understand how this mold works with different people. you can be related and have the exact same genes. The sister can be totally affected by the mold and the brother not affected at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's, affects the whole family, but it affects others according to their genealogy or whatever worse than others.
Yeah, like 25% of people have this bad gene, so you're even more susceptible. Okay, so let's, if you can let me share, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to go to healingals.org. That's our website. And I'm going to go to recordings because I want you to see what's going on. So in recordings, the first thing, so the 47 steps is over here. And I do want to show you the 47 steps. So what happens, we went to people's houses and this is the problem. They were missing things that were key to their healing. We felt like, boy, if they could they're already doing all these great things. If they could just add these 3 or 4 things, then they might be able to turn this. And because we wanted, look, we're not happy until we have like over 90% of people reversing ALS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. By the way, we have people with MS, Parkinson's, myasthenia gravis, a whole bunch of other people are following our 47 steps with us. So because as you said, it's good for everybody. So and I'm just going to give you an example on the clean air step. So you click on the clean air step and we say mold and mycotoxins. So we don't have to talk about it because we can give you detailed instructions for $150 how to get a Hertzme test. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the short instructions. This is it right here, guys.
But I must comment now that you are talking about this. I must comment the following. We very well, guys, we live here in Brazil, and Patricia and Scott visited us last year. We were talking about that. It was a lot of fun. We visited a lot of ALS patients. But Patricia did this test. She tested our Tabitha's dad's house. Tabitha's dad, he has ALS. For those of you who don't know, she tested the house and she tested, I think, the farm where we were working. We were living at that time with Tabitha. And the results, guys and girls, was really stunning. That she told us when she came back to the United States and had all that tested. Our environment in that Vale do Ribeira in Sao Paulo, in the state of Sao Paulo, in those houses, you could find 500, 600 times as the worst situation of mold than in the United States. So tell us about this a little bit more, if you can, because I think it's maybe we can go back to the 47 steps, but I think this is
I think the main thing is that occasionally you have to move. We had one person, they did everything, okay, but they lived in an area, and that's what I'm worried about your dad, because he lives right next to the jungle. So and the way the valley, it's like it captures the moisture.
Yeah.
Brazil is moist enough in that area anyway, but then this one, so he might be able to move, honestly, 2 blocks away and not have that problem.
Right.
So we went to somebody else's house that was 2 blocks away. We didn't smell any mold. And the minute we walked into your dad's house, we could smell it. So I'm just saying that they don't have to move far. Often it's not moving far. It's just, so anyway, this guy.
If you remember, his house is also at the bottom of a hill.
Yeah, I know.
That forms like this pressure, this pot where the humidity stays all the time. So All
right. So anyway, the point is that occasionally, so this guy in British Columbia, one of our group in British Columbia, he was tested very high in mold. Okay, and then but they got the high-tech machines, which were huge help. They got a high-tech machine, which was fantastic. And they also got they brought it down. I mean, it was really effective, but he said it's still above the level. So even though the machines had gotten 90, like it brought it down to like 10% of what it was before, he said, but that's still higher than the highest aspergillus rate that we should be breathing. And then they looked at other homes in the area and they would realize that there was going to be the same thing. So they actually moved inland because they were just too close to the water. So they figured every single house, they found out the mold was between the shingles and the tar paper. So there was no way, unless they
no way to get it out
outside, it was just not going to happen. Within 3 days, he felt so like, hundreds and hundreds of percent better. So I think it's very important that, in those few small cases where you do have to move, like I said, 95% of the time you don't need to move. But
Right. So
in
too
this
many
case,
ways, you've talked about this
but
high-tech
other people,
machine.
they get these
Yeah.
machines and they bring their level down to zero.
Right.
They're at 30 and they bring it right down to 0 or 1 or 2, which a very safe level. So that's the other thing.
Right.
But let's get back to my 47 steps. So what we
Yes.
did, so the reason we decided to do groups, and this is heavy metals too, I had one person that I was coaching, like we would talk once a month for about an hour and a half. And then the next month. So this had been going on for 18 months. And after 18 months, she said, well, I have X number of fillings. I know I had talked about fillings with her before. I know it. She had amalgam fillings and that, maybe she might want to get them out slowly, never get them out fast. And she swears we didn't. But then I thought, you know what? I'm doing 1 and 1. I'm helping one person at a time. I'd rather do 1 to a couple hundred. So if I could do 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000, that's why we started doing the Sundays in 2020. So it started out with, I have to put this in my hand. I don't want to have to remember. And the same thing with your doctors. If you have functional doctors or naturopaths, don't expect them to heal for you. They have 300 patients. They will help you, but you need to be responsible. So when we did the 47 steps, we said, you need to cover your bases. Not all of these things are going to be relevant to you. But you know what? If you go through these and do what resonates with you, and you will at least cover all the bases. Like people are doing medical testing and find out their vitamin D levels are like 35. Your vitamin D level should be around 60 or 70. If they're at 35, guys, you better take vitamin D supplements because vitamin D affects 200 processes in the body. It affects your immune system. It affects your hormones. I mean, it affects everything, your liver, your kidneys, like everything. So this is just conventional tests by very inexpensive vitamin D. Vitamin B12 is often low. So you need to cover your bases. People are doing their pH and they're finding out, oh, I'm at 4.5. Well, that's a problem. 4.5 is too low. Okay. So, the idea is to get these. Also, we found out that people were detoxing too soon. So we're like, no. Start at the beginning, make sure your mind is in the right place, which is really steps 1 through 4 is your mind. Get your mind in a good place. Then the next steps are cleaning up your environment. What's the point of detoxing when you're bringing incoming toxins in?
Right.
What's the point of treating Lyme disease? Because it won't work if you're bringing in toxins. If
you need to cut the source first, of course.
So get off the source, clean food, clean air, clean water, clean electricity, clean mouth, get rid of your dental infections and you slowly, don't do anything fast, please. Brazil has phenomenal dentists. Okay. So you can get these things out one at a time safely over time and don't, let's correct your vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Let's take care of your pain. In general, cannabis can be very helpful temporarily. Once you've taken care of the rest, you don't usually need the cannabis anymore. But if you're in pain and you want to bring down inflammation quickly, it's a good tool. Okay, exercise is really important. A simple vibration machine for a few $100s can make all the difference in the world. How to improve your sleep. This is a big thing. If anybody is emotionally, if you are angry, resentful, anything at all, anything, okay? Let's talk about this for 1 second. Anybody in the audience still holding any anger or resentment or frustration?
I think there are no exceptions. You need to work on those, né?
It's not a question of work on them. You need to release them because being angry at somebody else, okay, it doesn't affect the other person. Here's you. You're the one that's angry. This other person is like living their life. They don't care. So being angry at someone else is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die.
It sounds really.
It only hurts you guys. Let it go today. Don't let it go tomorrow. Don't let it go next week. Say, I'm done. If you don't let it go, you will get sicker and sicker and sicker.
Yes, and the thing is it's not only about feeling angry or hate other people, but I think the hardest part is dealing with ourselves. Sometimes we blame ourselves, we can't forgive ourselves for the way
Guilt,
we act before. I think that's the hardest part, you know.
the hardest part, the guilt,
Yeah, it's
managing
yourself.
guilt,
the
guilt and
guilty.
remorse. Yeah, guilt and
And
remorse, they are such heavy emotions that damage us as
yeah,
well.
and imagine trauma as well. So somebody has done something to you and you haven't forgiven them. Again, the other person doesn't care. It's you that are being hurt. And I look at Joyce Brown, who's 91 years old. She's an ALS reversal. She was raped when she was 6 years old. 6. Her mother didn't believe her until like when she was 10, another little girl got raped and her mother did believe her. And that's basically what happened. She had to forgive the guy who molested her. She had to forgive her mother. She had to forgive the police because he was never prosecuted, the system. She had to forgive the system because he was never prosecuted. And he was never prosecuted. And they were involved in a church and the bishop knew. Okay. But the bottom line is he had 4 or 5 children. He was the sole support of that family. Had he gone to jail, you would have put an entire family into poverty. So she had to forgive the system as well. So if she can do that, I really think that any of us can pretty much forgive anything. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us, because she would not, and she told us she would not be alive today if she had not forgiven him.
I look at our friends that we know that are living in their 80s, and I'm not talking about just
90s,
living
100.
and getting around, very energetic. I mean, going out playing beach volleyball.
Driving
80.
their friends around at 103 to the gym.
Skiing very difficult ski runs at 80-something years old. What they have in common that I've noticed, they're happy inside. They're not anger or holding resentment or looking at other people. They're doing what they want to do, and they're happy on the inside generally. And I really think that if you get internal happiness deep within your own soul and let everything else go, forgive all others, don't worry about their situation, be happy with you within, I believe that will sustain you with longevity.
So on Thursdays, everyone is invited to come to Thursdays. We are doing a dispenser course. It's like a 2-3-month course. And we're going through this course as a group. And one of the things that Dr. Dispenza said, and look, if you are looking, you have a choice. You could either look toward, be in the present and look towards the future, or you can look towards the past. Okay. So how effective is my life driving as I'm driving through life, if I'm looking in the back window at some past trauma that happened a decade ago, or a year ago, or even yesterday? Even
5 minutes ago, even if something bad happened during your day, like you crashed something or lost something, like a phone call didn't work, you lost some money, something bad happened during your day.
No, because
So
it
it's going to
keeps
be a
happening all the
bad day
time.
the entire day. It doesn't need to be like that. Okay, so one bad thing that happened, but it's not the day, So it's something about
Yeah.
your attitude towards things, right?
How you respond and how much, you use of your energy, then, like you're saying, looking back, whatever it is, 5 minutes or 5 years or 50.
Yeah. So you imagine yourself driving a car. Can you imagine how well your driving trip would go if you spent your time looking back here? I don't think it would work. We're driving through life. And if you've got stuff behind you, and I'm not saying you can learn from the past, you can look at the people in the rearview mirror, but you better not be spending too much time on it. You can say, I've got lessons. Wow, I did that before. I'm going to make sure I don't do that again. Lessons from the past are important, but certainly not spending any significant time turning around. And I will look. I will turn around over my shoulder. I got to move to the right lane. I'm going to take a quick
Right.
peek and do that. So I'm not saying you never ever look at the past, but it's a quick second, right? And I
Right.
think it's a good analogy if you're in the past. So just let your trauma go now, today. Today. It's in the Bible. Come on, guys. It's
So,
wisdom.
Patricia,
In every
so
religion for 5,000 years about forgiveness. It's there.
before you, I'm sorry. So before you go on and telling us about the 37 steps, you mentioned about something about Thursday. Can you repeat that? So I
So
think,
on Thursdays, I can go over, again, I'm going to share my screen on the
right,
47
please.
steps. So we go back to the home page. Oh, actually, we can even go to events. So if you see events right here, so I have events. We have an events page. So every Thursday, go to our events page down here. Thursdays. We are doing a Joe Dispenza interlude every Thursday. Instead of the 47 steps. So we usually do the 47 steps, but because we're going to work on this 500 to 1,000 person ALS study, we want to start with step 1 in March. So right now we are taking a break from the 47 steps, and we will go over it as a group. We will definitely go over it as a group starting in April. So just to let you know, so we're going to restart the 47 steps in April. And in the meantime, we're going through a course. It's called the Progressive Course. And we do it twice a day so that everybody can come. And it's all about your mental attitude towards healing.
And I see this is you're calling it the Dispenza Progressive Course. So that means
no, it's his course. So that's why
it's his course. It's Joe Dispenza's course. Excellent, fantastic. So guys, don't miss out. I think this is a great opportunity. I think everybody knows who Joe Dispenza is and what he went through in his own personal story is also very, very interesting, a healing story, and why he has come up with all these fantastic programs. Thank you. So this is on Thursdays, and there's 2 times that you are publishing there. It happens 2 times a day, so it covers practically the globe.
Yeah, so we go Eastern time because most people, this is New York time, so you have to figure it out from New York time, 8 a.m. New York time, and then again at 7 p.m. New York time. So figure out which one to schedule. Great. Everyone who is interested in healing should be coming to this.
I won't miss it. I won't miss it. Thank you. So
he has it in Portuguese and he has it in Spanish. So it be something that you might consider doing as a group with your Portuguese group and your Spanish group.
Thank you. That's we will. Thank you very much. So this is a gift, guys. So thank you. So can you continue then a little bit with the 47 steps?
The 47 steps. So so it covers everything. The main thing is you build up your body, you correct your deficiencies, you balance the body. This testing is important because you've got to bring your vitamin B levels up, your immune system will usually take care of the rest. Balancing the pH, healing the gut is essential. Making sure you're pooping, okay? Clearing your detox pathways, healing the liver and the gallbladder, okay? Opening up the lymph system. This is all important. You better not, and mental detox. Okay. And pain and inflammation, balance your hormones. Now, finally, at 31 weeks in, we are ready for detoxing and mycotoxins and parasites and heavy metals. But let me tell you, if you haven't done the first 30 steps, you're not ready to detox yet. People are detoxing too soon. Now, there are safe ways to detox. I think OSR is a safe way. I think the sauna is a safe way, but you have to bring in, but you can't overdo it. You do it for sure because you still have to correct all your deficiencies. When you go through the sauna, you are sweating out the good minerals and the bad minerals. So if you haven't learned up here how to make sure that you're correcting your minerals,
to replenish everything, right?
Yeah. Right, exactly. So just understand that there's a reason why this is in order. Lyme disease at the very end. People go do Lyme disease right away and they get sicker and sicker and they don't heal.
That's right.
It's a disaster. Most of the time, you never have to treat for Lyme. If you have had Lyme more than 6 months, antibiotics are contraindicated. You should not be taking antibiotics for Lyme. I would say 95% of the time, it makes you significantly worse. There's this 5% of the time, but maybe they have an active, I don't know what's going on, but they seem to help. But I think those are the people that were more recently infected versus long-term. I have Lyme disease, okay? It's my immune system has taken care of it. I've been bitten by ticks. I've had active Lyme before, so I know I've got the virus. I have Epstein-Barr virus. I have HSV1, which is herpes simplex fun. I have the herpes zoster virus because every time I get into stress, what happens? I'll get shingles.
Yeah.
I know I've got, so I'm keeping all these viruses in remission. Okay, because my immune system. So the whole principle is stop the incoming toxins, fix your body so that you give it the vitamins and nutrition and environment and everything it needs, the food it needs, the mental health that it needs, give it everything it needs to heal. And guess what? The
miracle happens.
Yeah, it's a miracle. Now, sometimes you can do frequency devices and they help, but if you do them too early, you're going to kill off all of these bugs too fast. Your liver and your kidneys and your gut can't handle
They won't be able to handle all those toxins going through. Right.
Yeah.
And we've been talking, Patricia, we've been talking also about the parasiting too soon and the parasites doing it the wrong way and the parasites releasing heavy metals and fungi and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So, it's like we think we have the tendency to think that parasites and mold, fungi, and bacteria, they are living like separate worlds. And what it is that the parasites, they have bacteria, which have parasites inside, which have mold inside, which have more parasites and all the heavy metals. So it's like
when you kill them off, you can release a ton of toxins.
A ton of toxins.
They're
and it's called the Hexheimer reaction, which is very, very, very strong in some people, right? So this is very, very important, guys. That's why the 47 steps, they have been put in that order. I mean, that's exactly what Patricia is telling us about. We have to follow a certain order, clean the house, clean the water, clean your environment, and start giving your body, analyze what's wrong with your body, what's missing, supplement correctly, make your liver and your kidney and your intestine strong, and then you can start thinking about the parasite.
That's the other really good thing about the 47 steps, because they work as a guide. So they are set up in a special order. So where do I start? So clean your environment first. Okay. First of all, clean your mind. Believe you can heal. That's the most important thing. Then you clean your environment, right? Then you start to supplement and understand what's going on in your body. So that's why the testing is so important. Then you go on and then you clean your detox pathways, you make them stronger. Then you start to chelate and kill parasites in the right way. So this 47 steps, guys, is so amazing. I love it. I don't think the world needs to know that.
We are so
okay.
We are so into it, and we are so convinced, guys, that this will heal. If people follow at least 60-70% of them, they are already doing a great job.
Yeah.
So go on, Patricia.
Yeah, so just to let you know, so these are at the end. So these homeopathy you can do a little sooner. Once you've done maybe the first half of the steps, you can look at some of these two. I would not do any of this until later because people do stem cells and they get way worse. So you've got to realize that, and basically I've talked to people that said, well, I'm going to do stem cells, and they've done the rest of the steps. They don't need stem cells anymore because they're already better. Why spend the money on stem cells? If you're toxic, the new stem cells are just going to die. The exosomes are just going to die. Like, so you're giving these things and they're going to die. SOTs, understand, we have about 90% of people getting significantly worse on SOTs. Some of them go to the hospital and die. So please don't do those. Maybe later in the process, but never early in the process.
One of the things I do want to mention about stem cells, they do make you feel better in the short run when you first get them because they're new cells.
Sometimes.
But if you still have the toxins within your body,
they die right away.
Slowly die off, and you end up being worse than you were before you took the stem cell.
It makes sense. It makes total sense.
I want to just tell you the exception to the rule is steps 43 through 46. This is about staying alive while you're healing. So what's happened is people are dying of heart attacks. Now, heart attacks, you have a 50% chance. The high is the leading cause of death in the United States. So just because you've got these other diseases does not mean that you're immune to heart attacks. You can still die of heart attacks. So step 43 is about preventing blood clots and keeping your heart healthy. Check your blood pressure, check your CAC scan. Make sure that your heart is working. Feed your heart. And then also, some people are dying because they're not getting breathing assistance early enough. So please, if you've got ALS, get your breathing assistance early, get your feeding tube early. If you can't drink water and get nutrients down, how is your body supposed to heal?
Absolutely.
You're not giving it what it needs. So get your feeding tube to stay alive. And then occasionally you might end up with pneumonia. You might have to go to the hospital. How do you stay alive during the hospital visit? So these last 4 steps here are really how to stay alive. And so
this exactly what you're saying about how to stay alive. It may sound a little bit strange, but it is true mostly for ALS patients. We have seen so many stories of patients with ALS who just had an episode of whatever. They went to the hospital. The doctors there at the emergency or whatever did not know how to handle an ALS patient, and they would make situations worse. But not only all the microbes, all the bacteria. We have a case of a guy who just died because of tuberculosis, and so on and so forth. So dealing with hospitals, I think it's an important chapter there.
Okay, so then I'm going to go over to recording. So what happened was people said, this is too much because, a lot of people with ALS or type A, I can't wait a year. I want to like, what is the most important things for me to do right away? So if you were to summarize the 47 steps, then I just want to get the big picture. And if I have to get that right away, how can I get that right away? So we answered the call. And we created the 7-part Healing ALS. We're not going to call it a master class. It's just Healing ALS Essentials class. I'm going to take this away. So anyway, so week 1 is just the basics. Week 2 is cleaning your environment. Week 3 is diets and supplements. Week 4 is testing. Week 5 is healing the gut and liver. Week 6 is detox. And week 7 is taking charge of your health. So what we did is we took everything at once for the people that want patient.
Yeah, okay. Makes totally sense. It looks
less
less scary and it looks more easier to take care of step by step, Makes sense.
So this is like an intro. You still, for the big details, you still want to go to the 47 steps. You still want to take that year-round class, but at least you can get the basics in 7 weeks, and you can, just the basics, so you can start on things and feel like you're doing something while you're going through the 47 steps.
Because that's what's scary. I think one of the biggest problems that we find in our groups, and mostly with the ALS patients, is that when they find out, oh my God, I have, or my husband, my wife has ALS, I don't know where to start. What should I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? I don't want to believe my doctor. He told me to go home and die. Where do I start? That's the biggest question we get all the time, is what to do. Or maybe even worse, they start doing many things at the same time. Whatever they read, they start doing it the wrong way, and they combine things they shouldn't be doing. So, this is amazing, guys. I mean, really great work. This is such a gift for people who need a guide and need a structure to go step by step and take care of the most important, not only to get into the healing path. Right. So thank you for this. This is a gift. This is fantastic. Thank you, Patricia.
So what we're doing is putting your health into your own hands. And I understand it's scary. Just to be really clear, when I was starting, first of all, I had dementia, which didn't help, but I was so confused because I was reading these books, right? And it was like this, I didn't know where to start. I was like all over the place. And then 2 things happened. One of them was Eric Edney's book, which was Eric is Winning. He put everything into 3 categories. And so all of a sudden I had these things floating around my head. And all I did, and I'm going to share this as well. Let's go back to the homepage for a second. And then let's press the Start Here button. And down here I've got to show you my observational study too. But here, Principles of Integrative Medicine. Look at this. Eric Edney put everything into 3 buckets. So all of these things that I had been learning, actually everything, even the 47 steps and all of the 7 essentials, they all fit into 3 buckets. Number 1, I put this as number 3 because people don't realize that this is most important, but I'm going to tell you, healing your mind is the most important thing. If you are in a state of stress, you're worried about dying, You're worried about getting, what's my finances, what's my family going to do without me? You're worried about becoming disabled. That puts you in a state of stress. So you need to calm down. Because when you're in a state of stress, you cannot take in nutrients and you cannot detoxify. Your heart, your liver, your kidneys, nothing works as well. Your immune system goes down. So why would you compromise your immune system? We're trying to build the immune system. So healing the mind is absolutely essential. And we've already talked about that, but that is number one most important thing. All right. Then again, nutrition and supplements. What are the foods that feed my body? We're finding out needs. I thought we changed this picture. But anyway, we're putting meat in the new picture because we know that meat is the most nutrient-dense body of the plant. Protein and fat are extremely important. I'm not saying the vegetables aren't helpful. Of course they are. But the meat and the fat is essential, more important than the vegetables. Okay, you need to eat enough protein and fat in your diet. If anyone wants to come tomorrow, Dr. Kirsty Lawton is presenting about the importance of diet and knowing where you are with your protein, your fat, and your carbohydrates. So
just share the invitation in the group stage.
Yes, I'll do that in just 1 second. I'll share it. So toxins and detoxification. Yeah. So toxins and detoxification, that's the other thing. So it's basically, look, you need to heal the mind. You need to feed the body what it needs. You need to get rid of the incoming toxins and slowly get the other toxins out as you can handle it. So everything in the 47 steps and in the 7
falls into these 3 categories. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that makes it a little bit easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. But Patricia, let me ask you something here. So you learned throughout these years of having already started with the 47 steps that actually you have been visiting a lot of patients. We know you are very active. You've been to India, you've been to Australia, you visited us here in Brazil. You're very active also visiting and learning from what you see and from you hear from the patients and not only from their families. So have you found that people following the 47 steps have changed? Do you have any?
Absolutely. Yes. So this
any
is
results, and not only the results, do you have any proof that this is happening?
Thank you, William. We do have proof, but before we get to proof, just a second, I want to just show you why your doctor is not on board. So why is my neurologist point? It's because he is likely caring. So forgive him, send him love and forgiveness. He just doesn't know. Okay. The average medical doctor receives 100,000 hours of pharmacology training in medical school. They were told to, and how much nutrition? 4 hours. And how much toxicology training? Virtually none. So they don't know. They're good people. They want to help, but they've only been trained in drugs. They don't know. Yeah. Most of them. So please forgive them immediately. Then we're going to go back home and answer his question, which is, do I have proof? So it's right on the homepage. And you asked for and by the way, right here, January 26th, best diet for ALS, insulin resistance. Click here to register. So you can go to healingals.org and you can register right here and now. Okay, so just so everybody knows, it's right on our homepage, the invitation. You don't need, Tabitha will send you the invitation, but just understand you don't absolutely need it.
You don't have to.
Because it's right there on the website. Okay, so then let's go down here to 2024 study. And we did 45 people. These are the people that did the 47 steps. Okay, these are the people that came week after week, Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. And after a year, we observed them after 1 year. So out of the patients who regularly participated over a 12-month period, 20% reversed ALS symptoms, 20% stabilized. That means they had no point loss in their ALSFRS, which is a measure of functionality of ALS.
Yeah.
20% only lost 1 to 4 points. This is huge. That means 60%. There is no study ever in the history of ALS that has had this good of results.
And
not one.
We presented our material at the ALS World Congress in Montreal just recently. And basically, the majority of those global scientists that are supposed to be the best on ALS worldwide, they had no idea. They were in shock. And a lot of their studies had nothing to do with, they were just doing genealogy research, same stuff they've been doing since the Bucket Challenge. They weren't going into the nutritional deficiencies and all of the other holistic methods that we're talking about. And it was foreign to the majority of them. It was foreign to them.
Okay. So, and we had neurologists say, we just don't believe you.
Of course.
We don't believe it. There's no way your results could be this good. So that's why we're doing a 500 to 1,000 person study.
Right.
So we're working very hard on getting that done. So just so you be very clear, these are the people that were less than 4 years. So these are the 3 categories that we had 60%, 19% improved, no change, and 22% had loss of 1 to 4. This is still excellent. These are the people that were diagnosed less than 4 years ago. So
you consider the loss 1 to 4, sorry to interrupt you, but so the loss 1 to 4, you consider in it because it's still an improvement, because normally how much would they lose?
They would lose 12 points. The standard is 12 points. So 85% did better. Even these people who lost 5 to 10 did better than average.
Did better than the average.
Only 15% did as bad or worse than average. And then look at the people with more than 4 years since diagnosis. Look, 85% were in that category. So 46% either improved or had no change. So, because obviously you already lost a lot, so your loss is going to slow down, but these are still excellent results. Down here, if you go, we've been presenting to neurological conferences, by the way. So, and we just presented, Larissa, who's a neurologist, she just presented to another neurological conference. We're going to add that picture as well. So that'll be in here soon. And then if you go down all the way, this is the ALSSQ. This is a measure of quality of life. So things like energy level, sleep improvement, fasciculations, pain, cramping, things like that. 64% had improvement in quality of life issues. That's huge. So even those that didn't improve in functionality, if you're breathing better, if you're happier, if you are have more energy,
if you're sleeping better, if you
this
absolutely.
is important. This is very important. So
of course, because you have a better chance to keep that up and keep improving. You're having a better mood, you're sleeping better, you're supplementing a little better. So you must be doing things
less pain,
right.
less cramping. And by the way, if anybody still has pain or cramping, that's from diet, that's inflammation. Cramping is from, and fasciculations are from not enough magnesium. So you should be supplementing with magnesium and vitamin C no matter what. And really, if you are in pain, that's inflammation. You need to bring your carbohydrates down and eat non-inflammatory antiviral foods.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Questions?
So those are excellent results, right? And now with this new study that you have mentioned, so 500 persons that are going to be followed up in what they're doing, how they're doing it, and look at different aspects that this test shows, like this functionality, pain, and so on and so forth, to be able to keep with what they use to be able to say or give us a diagnosis that a person has ALS. So this is the score that they use, and you're using the same way to measure it so that there is no doubt about what's going on there, right?
Yes.
Right. Should we?
And oh, by the way, I wanted to say something because I got this. We have 30, I think she's 30 or 32. Her mother passed away of ALS, but in the process of doing all the things to heal her mother, she completely healed herself. She was tired all the time. She was sick. She had pain and inflammation. She had all these issues in her 30s, which was crazy. And all of her health problems resolved when she followed all of these things with her mother. Okay.
Imagine.
So what a gift. Her mother's illness came, and her mother died very suddenly. I think she would have reversed. And, there's I think, again, detoxing too fast. I'm not sure. I can't tell you exactly why, but that's why we're doing the staying alive and the order and that kind of thing. But understand she has a wonderful testimony. And so we're going to see her actually just improve and having babies now and all the stuff that she wasn't able to do before.
But
they're going to be trying to get pregnant now, basically now. Started just trying to get pregnant, but she said she wasn't healthy enough to get pregnant before. Imagine. So now she's going to have grandchildren and for for her.
Changes the whole panorama. But this is a very good important point, because we always or tend to concentrate on the patient, but we forget that the people around the person, the husband, the wife, the person who's taking care of the patient is also suffering, and sometimes much more. So these persons, they need to also follow. I think these 47 steps, they will help everybody that just takes care of them, follows, okay, let me clean my air, let me clean my water, and so on. So I don't know if anybody
I don't
has
think I have
questions. Tabitha, have
questions
you?
here.
No.
If there's
Tabitha,
no questions, Scott can show a video. Just a second.
Tabitha, you don't have questions. You usually have questions, Tabitha.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted, Linda is here. I want to make sure it's okay with Linda if we show that little, it's like a 3-minute video. Linda's, I see her muted.
Yes,
So Linda,
ask Linda.
I don't want to show your video if it's not okay with you because you're sitting here.
That's just fine.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
So, well, Scott's getting it ready. I'm gonna let you drive,
Okay.
Scott. You gotta go to here.
Go here. Yep.
how do we-
Anyone in this group right now has any questions, anything? So that's the time.
Now, I also want to let everybody in this group know that your health is in your hands. By the way, I did go to a functional doctor. So in all my confusion, I learned about the 3 buckets, which at least got things, but I couldn't make decisions. That was one of the problem with dementia. And so I did go to a functional doctor because I didn't know where to start. So he at least said, okay, do this, 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 and this. And I was so confused that it made I couldn't even decide what supplements to take. So he basically said, start with these supplements. We did a little hormone work. You know what I mean? He gave me some guidance because I was so confused. I didn't even know where to start. So I wanted to let you know that I did that as well, but he was really expensive. So I was only able to see him about 3 times, but those 3 times at least helped me get started. And then, so that was another thing, but basically it was up to me. I had to make the appointment. I had to do everything. I had to do the research, and my brain was not working extremely well. Scott, can you find it? I don't know where it is. So we met Linda. Linda was about halfway through the 47 steps when we met her the first time, and already had huge improvements then. She had gone from sitting in her in her chair most of the day to actually being able to walk in a walker. And then a year later, we saw her again, and this film was taken a year later.
I'm gonna have it.
Is that it?
You need to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Okay, second.
But you have to make sure the audio is up.
I will. Share and play.
I had seen Healing ALS and had gone to the website, but it was on my phone. It was all messed up. And I thought, I gave up. But it was in January, and it just popped up. It's like God led me to you guys. It just popped up, and it said 47 steps to healing ALS. And I'm like, why not? What do I have to lose for one? And it sounded like right up my alley. So I got on it right then, and I took in every word. I have notebooks full of notes, and I'd go back and research and find out, if this is something I'm going to try or not. And just started implementing all the stuff that I'm learning. And just kind of slowly start noticing little improvements. I don't feel stress anymore. I hardly ever get frustrated or angry. I'm happy. I'm living my best life despite ALS. I'm living my best life.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you think
Wow.
others do what you're doing
Wow,
and
look at
others
that.
diagnosed with ALS?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man, look at this.
But you have to want it. You have to want it. You have to put the time in. You have to put the work in. And you have to just change your attitude, not listen to the doctors because they're so negative. I am so blessed with the fact that I have
Wow.
so many positive people in my life. Nobody in my life is negative. All my friends, all my family, they support what I'm doing. You know, I don't have that negativeness coming into my life, which helps. But absolutely, if anybody can do this.
So what advice would you give to someone recently diagnosed with ALS and they came to you? What advice would you give them?
I get this on Facebook all the time. Start with the 47 steps. Get on there. Get going. You know, the sooner you start, the better results you're going to have.
Right.
You know, it's just you change your attitude if you can, change how you're living. You know, clean up your environment, clean up your diet, and start with the small stuff. It all adds up.
This is so amazing and inspiring. First of all, Linda, thank you for those words, and my God, yeah,
So
excellent.
beautiful. So nice. So nice. It's possible, guys. Anyone can heal from everything, not only ALS. You
And
know.
notice what Linda did. She did all the little things, including never getting angry, including only keeping positive people around her, people that support her, not negative, stressful people. This is part, she has done everything. And Linda, if you want to add something, feel free to unmute yourself and add anything you'd like to that.
Please,
Yes,
yes, thank
We're
you.
so, by the way, we're honored that Linda and Howard invited us into their home. They invited us to film. I mean, again, you know, we wouldn't have this story if they weren't willing to share. So we just so appreciate you, Linda, being willing to share your story, and Howard as well. And you guys are committed, you know, to helping other people. And this is what a way to do it.
And also,
Yeah.
how are you doing today? Has it sustained? And just let us know, because we love seeing how it sustains with a lot of people who have reversed their symptoms and they have not gone back. Others have gone back slightly, but they keep moving forward. So how are you doing today, Linda?
I am doing well, thank you. I do notice here it's been in the teens where the cold kind of affects me worse. I do stay inside more, but for the most part, I am doing well.
By the way, we've noticed the cold starts. We're looking at spending some months in Brazil every year because we don't like the cold either.
Well,
And I
you
think
know,
that's part of getting older. It gets
we
to
can
the
see the trees. We can see the trees behind you guys with the snow on
Oh
the
yeah,
leaves.
no, it is snowing very hard over here. Like, believe me, look at that
Look at
snow.
that.
It is snowing
And
like
this is a gift for our eyes because this is so hot right here. It's 34 degrees, and I don't have my fan on because of the noise. So yes, we are sweating, but this is cooling my eyes. So Linda, thank you so much for your statement, and I believe me, this helps so many people. You know, the inspiration to see other people. If I can do it, you can do it
Uh,
too. I think Linda has
um,
actually taken her health in her hands. That's what
Thank you
happened.
so much, Lena. So I'm going to share my how can I say that my a personal story, you know. So my dad, for example, we've been researching for I don't know 6 years now. So Tish and Scott, they know a little bit about my story and how I like to research. So that was my life, 100% dedicated to help my dad. And my dad was there researching and reading, and we were doing everything that we could. And my dad was improving, you know, he was doing fine. But my grandfather died, and then my dad went to the wheelchair. 1 year later, my grandmother died, and my dad had a respiratory failure. So he was taking the supplements, detoxing his body. He had like, you know, the best of the best. Everything that I found, everything that I knew, we were trying. He was there, he was fighting, but he had the respiratory failure for an emotional issue. His mother died, and then he went to the hospital, and then they needed to resuscitate him, and they used directly oxygen on him. They couldn't do that, but they did it anyway because it's such a little town. They didn't know how to do with people with ALS. So my dad had a trach and a feeding tube, because of that. And when we went to the hospital to visit him, it was so insane because he could only move his eyes. The last time when I talked to my dad, I was talking to him. He was still eating like through his mouth. He has bulbar ALS, but he was still breathing without assistance. He was still eating. He was still talking. So when I visit him, he was only moving his eyes. So it was really, really hard, but I meditated a lot, and then I was grateful for God. I said, "Oh, my dad is alive. His heart is beating, so he can heal. If his heart is beating, if he's alive, he can heal." So I told him that and said, "Let's keep fighting." And the last time when Tish and Scott visit us, my dad could already spend like a lot of time out of the ventilator, hold his neck. He could move his hands, he could move his legs, and now he's even better. He's even stronger. You guys are going to visit him, of course, when you come to Brazil. And you guys will
I want to
see.
say something about the emotional.
We can play
Yeah.
the video of it
So
and show. We have a video.
So one of the things I want to show is the trauma, right? Virtually every single person in this room right now in this Zoom has had trauma. All of us have. And if you don't remember any trauma, then maybe you need to meditate a little bit because you've got it. Okay. Even if you don't remember it. So one of the things that we've found, and it's free, totally free. So the Dispenza meditations are awesome. All the meditations online in YouTube are free. So please do them. Whatever one resonates you, find the ones that resonate you.
Do it, yeah.
Another one, if you grab in my journal. So if you write, it turns out, if you write 15 minutes a day, it's called automatic writing. Now you can write with a typewriter, and you can also write with your voice. So the people that can't move their hands anymore, but they can do a voice. And so if you write in a journal, okay, 15 minutes a day, either type, okay, doesn't matter. What happens is traumas start getting released. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell your family. You don't have to tell a therapist. You write, and the actual act of writing is healing and releasing trauma that is blocked inside you. And sometimes you don't even know. The other day I was doing it, and about 10 minutes in, I found tears were just streaming my face because I was so sure that I had healed this and I had released it. Obviously I didn't, because just writing it down helped release it. So it's free. This guy is a PhD psychologist, and this was back in the 70s and 80s. He had a class, and he had everybody write 15 minutes a day. He found that the people that took it seriously and weren't writing about stupid stuff, but were really willing to go deep, and whatever thought it comes into your mind, start releasing it. He took like 10 and 20 years later, they were healthier, they were happier, they were more likely to be alive. They were, it's amazing. So, and many of them were still doing it. They were still releasing things by just writing them down. So that's something free. And even if you're on eye gaze, what you can do on eye gaze, because eye gaze is slow. So you're going to think for a few minutes, and then at the end of the 15 minutes, you're going to maybe you'll come up with one thing. Maybe after 5 minutes, write one sentence to remind you of, I've just released all of these things. And then then another 5 minutes, you might come up with like 3 or 4 more words. Just write those 3 or 4 more words in the eye gaze to release that. And then the same thing with the next section. So you need to release everything. You don't need to show it to anybody. You keep it in a private folder that nobody can see. And you obviously you can share. I actually shared with Scott what I was upset about because I was so sure I would release it. So you're certainly allowed to share it, but you don't need to. Okay. All right.
Play Pedro.
You have
Excellent. That's an excellent technique. Thank you for that. I think
Thank you. We are going to
makes
do that.
totally
We
makes
have one
makes
question
totally
here.
sense.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Oh, I wanted to go to the registry thing, but that's okay. I want to show you.
No, but no, before we go to the, if you can make it summarize, because I think it's important that people know this, what you're doing. This is not just like, these neurologists that were questioning you and saying, is it true? Or are those numbers true? Let's show them why and where you're getting the information, how you are.
Yes, let's show the registry first, and then we answer the
Yes.
questions at the end.
Yes, let's do that. If you still have some time.
Okay, so let me do the registry. If anyone with ALS, eventually this registry will be opened up for other things besides ALS. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that. So alsregistry.org. And again, if you can't find it, go to healingals.org. That's the only website you have to remember. And then it'll go to ALS registry. And then you could say join registry. Okay, you can join it. Okay, so just so you know, you don't need to remember alsregistry.org, but you can go. So when you do your monthly check-in, this is what we did. We checked the ALSFRS. So when I do my monthly check-in, it says, speech, saliva, swallowing, handwriting, dressing, and hygiene. Are you able to turn, walk, climb stairs, breathe? And that's it. So there's these last three are breathing insufficiencies. So then the other option is this is the ALSSQ, which includes energy level, mental clarity, pain, fasciculations, cramping, sleep, and sleep quality, mucus, because that wasn't mentioned. Saliva is mentioned in the first one, but this is mucus, foot and hand swelling and holding your head up. And that's it. So that's the second one. The third one is the vitals. We check the PANAS, which is your mental state. Mental state is so important. We've actually given it numbers. So what percentage, and anyone can join this registry. I am joined, I'll show you my profile real quick. I am joined as a profile as a, what am I? PAL support team member. So if you don't have any disease, you can join as a PAL support team member and you can go ahead and do the registry. We're not going to count your data unless you actually have a diagnosis of ALS. So the people that have an official diagnosis with ALS, and if they do have an ideal, they can actually upload their diagnosis document. If you don't have a real diagnosis, we don't count it. So just so you know, and we treat ALS people and PLS people differently because life expectancy. So you have ALS, PLS, probable ALS, or you can be medical professionals can join, but you can join as a team member. So just so you know that. So then if we go to the dashboard, this is important because we know overall health, whether you have ALS or not, the positivity is important. So even the CALs can do this and take care of their own positivity. So what percentage of the day are you thinking positive states? How much of the day are you in a state of stress, worry, or fear? Have you forgiven other people? Have you forgiven yourself? And how much of your past trauma? We hope this is all like 99%. There's a total of 400 points that you can get, and that's it. So that's out of 400. So just so you know. And then, how much do you believe that you can get well? We want you to be honest. Some people are they're not taking any action to get well. I believe it, but a lot of people don't feel that they don't even deserve to get well. So get over that, guys. Please get over deserving to get well. Everyone deserves to get well. Okay. You're here on the planet, you're breathing. You deserve to get well. And then part C is just things like angry, hopeful, following my intuition, worried, stressed, disturbed, grateful, all that though. So we do take numbers, and these are actual metrics because we're going to be measuring positivity, how positive you are versus how much of trauma have you released versus we will be on the big study. We're going to be doing some AI, some artificial intelligence to really see, is there a link to your mental status and your overall health and your rate of decline. Stool and urine is important. Pooping is very important. That's why we keep an average. We want you to fill out your poop. This takes about if you can, about 30 minutes a month. If you cannot move, eat, breathe, or speak, we suggest a caregiver do it. Don't try to do it on eye gaze. Please don't do it on eye gaze. Okay. If you find this stressful, let a family member do it for you. Say, please, once a month, could you take half an hour and help me with this? All right. Then, we have vital statistics. So all of this stuff, journal, diet, supplements, medication, vital statistics is great because you can look at your history, your weight, all of this stuff. This is awesome to have your history of your vital statistics, your blood pressure, pH. We're trying to get more and more things with the vital statistics. So these are things that can be done at home. Not this one, sorry. Vital statistics. Let's go back over here. Vital statistics. Weight is the only thing that's absolutely required, but O2 saturation, this is something that the healthy people should be doing. Check your O2 sats once a month and your heart rate, and then do that. Blood pressure, check it once a month. pH, test it once a month. Okay. Basal body temperature, leukocytes, they can be done with a little test strip. And you just do it once a month. And these are indications of infections. Why do you want to check leukocytes? Because it might be an indication of an infection. Go see if you notice that it's high and maybe a few days later you take it, it's still high. Well, maybe I need to go see my doctor. Maybe I have an infection that I don't know about. Nitrates, same thing. So both these things can be an indication of infection. The other thing that we've just added recently is diet. So if you look at diet, let's go back to my dashboard. You can go next, but I have to fill it in. Otherwise it doesn't let me on the next step. So I'm going to, so here's diet. Look, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. So diet, you want 80 to 100 grams of protein. You want at least 100 grams of fat. This is not enough for me. So I'm like, wow. On a typical day when I measured it, it's 1,200 calories is not enough to maintain my weight. You want to be about 70% fat. And so I'm going to ask him to add the percentage here. This is beautiful. He just did this last night. I'm so happy. So it gives you an idea, but you want to be 70, 80% fat, believe it or not. So we're talking about that. So we're going to be talking about that, but you need to have a very high fat diet. Your brain is made of fat. Now, some people cannot, you're used to eating vegetables and they can't handle fat. So if you're at this point, please, please, please don't switch to 70% fat. You need to very, very, very slowly increase protein and fat. Do not do it quickly, please. Very, very slowly, or your gut function will go out the window. So please don't do anything quickly. So we're giving you what kind of the diet it is, and that's it. We also want alcohol-free, no artificial flavors, no corn, no sugar, no tobacco, no alcohol. All that stuff helps. Okay. And then, but again, the cows can do this as well. The people that this should be done for everybody. So you just keep your supplements, your medication, physical strategies. Anyway, all of that is here. So we're just seeing what is the best diet. Do we know what the best diet is for different diseases? No, but we will. We're going to know very soon what the best diet is for ALS. I see your daughter. How are you? Tabitha, you need to talk so that everyone can see your beautiful daughter.
Here she
Come on,
is. The little one. Hello, hi.
The spitting image of her mother, isn't it?
She's beautiful.
Oh my God. This is fantastic. Oh, she's grown so much. Oh my gosh.
So anyway,
Yeah,
we will see.
she did.
Our
She's
goal
huge.
is our goal is to go to Brazil this year, probably after the conference. By the way, and you don't know about the conference, again, I'm going to share my screen because everything.
Yes, we do.
HealingALS.org. So we haven't opened up registration yet, but if you go to HealingALS.org, it will give you the dates. So let's go look at this. And it says, save the date, Healing ALS 2025 Conference, Las Vegas, Nevada, October 26th through 29th.
We'll be there.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened to this 2024. I better fix it. It's 2025, guys.
And
Okay.
what we're gathering together for this conference is going to be amazing.
It's going to be
They get
incredible.
better and better every time we put on a.
We're going to have more and more reversals there and more and more doctors. We're inviting a lot of doctors there. We really want people like if we could get Dr. Flavio to come to that
Yeah.
conference.
I want to
Yes,
invite
absolutely.
Flavio and Dr. Felipe. You guys need to know him also because he's doing an amazing work in Brazil. You know,
So show them the study. Show the doctors our study
And the dates.
and the dates of the conference because we are getting really good results. We're going to have more and more proof that this works, that taking care of these 47 steps, the 7 essentials and the 47 steps works for any disease. But
One of
certainly,
the most beautiful things I've seen in the conference was when an ALS reversal walks up to someone in the wheelchair and said, I used to have my wheelchair just like yours. Now move over here, adjust your head in this direction, do this there. And they're like, wow, it's so much better. Oh, and it's all the little things. You'll be able to experience with those who have been in the same shoes that you're going through now.
yeah.
Which is so important.
And not only, and let's comment on something. Not only patients with benefit. You know, we had an interview with Dr. Cowden some months ago, one of many that we have carried out, and Dr. Cowden said how much he was impacted the first time he went to one of your conferences there. He was inspired to continue his work now with you guys. He continues, and let me tell you, he's been also very supportive to us here in Brazil and to our
he's
work.
amazing.
He's an amazing person, amazing protocols that he has put together for cleaning the liver, for cleaning this and that. You can, he has also a very nice webpage that you can visit. But not only patients, everybody gets inspired, everybody gets to learn that there is no death sentence. Guys, we have dedicated this last part. We are talking more about ALS, of course. This is a more general group, but just to show you guys, if it makes a difference, if the 47 steps make a difference on people with ALS, imagine what it can do for any other person with any other pathology. I think one of the worst situations you can have in the world is to have ALS. I think one of the worst. Somebody wants to talk. Somebody wants to comment something.
No, I think it was just background noise.
All right. So, but it is like that. So imagine, just like that guy who used to have ALS or has reversed comes up to this guy in the wheelchair. Yeah. Imagine if he was able to do that, and you are suffering of any other pathology, and you follow the 47 steps, you are going to have your health in your hands, and you're going to reverse whatever you have. We are convinced about this. So, yes, thank you
Okay,
very much. So,
Yasmin
Las
asked
Vegas,
if there's any advice. I
uh,
do have advice. So there's a question in here that says,
yes, any advice on detoxing
So
mold
I'm
from
going
the
to tell
body?
you, this is available. Okay, so let's go to 47 steps and let's go to step 6 because that's clean air. So the very first thing is there's no point in detoxing mold. If you still have mold, you're breathing it every day. Then it's like you're breathing it in, you're detoxing it, you're just putting too much pressure on your liver. You cannot do that if you're still breathing mold. Please don't detox mold and mycotoxins in general. So I would say the first thing you want to do is do a Hertzsprung test and see where you are. I don't know whether they do a Hertzsprung test in Brazil. You can take a dry cloth and send it to New Jersey, mail it to New Jersey, and they will give you the results. So, but just to let you know, that's really the first step. Then the second step is down here. I would go back to 47 steps. And then there's a lot of things on different ways. I think the sauna is huge, but and a ketogenic diet is absolutely essential. You cannot feed the mold. The mold loves sugar and it loves grain. So if you are eating bread, that bread turns into sugar and the mold just loves it. So any mycotoxins in your body, you don't want to feed them. So for a period of time while you are detoxing, you absolutely must not only have the incoming toxins stopped, you must also do the ketogenic diet. Otherwise, you're wasting your time, essentially. But here we are, step 31, detox mold and mycotoxins, and it's right there. And this, and and guys, if you really want to know, and you can buy this right now. Currently, the price is going to be going up, but currently, if you want to know actually how to purchase it, so again, I'm going to go to 47 steps at the beginning, and right here, self-study course here, click here to register. We only have the first 10 steps and those 4 steps at the end free, and they're always available to the public, but you can get full access for $20 a month. So if you can't afford $20 a month, then do a payment plan and then take off the payment plan. If you can order $20 every 3 months, as soon as you paid for 12 months, it's yours. But for $20, you can see those steps that you want. So the people that can't afford it, you can just do it for 1 month. We'd like you to do it for 12 months, and then you own it and you're done. But
so let me ask you something that comes to people's mind immediately. It says, okay, so what happens with this money? What are you doing with this money?
So Healing ALS, we have to pay. I mean, I pay bills every single month. I have to pay for my web thing. We pay, we have to pay for our Zoom account. Our Zoom account is over $200 a month right now. So we have to pay for our Zoom account. We have to pay for our emailer. That's pretty expensive every month. So we have Zoom, we have Aweber, we have, actually, I don't think it's quite 200 because we have 2 different Zoom accounts, but anyway, it's a lot. We have to pay, right now we're paying people. So in order to run Healing ALS, Alicia is part-time, Joanne is part-time. We have a new person, Kelly, who's starting part-time. We pay the webmaster, we pay the website person. You've got to pay people in order to actually do what we're doing. All of our doctors are,
No, I think it's more than fair. People pay $20 to have access to all of it, and there's so many other pages and so many other things there for free on Healing ALS too. So
yeah,
just pay $20.
So we weren't paying Scott and I anything until 2024.
All out of our pockets. The whole thing for several years.
Yeah, actually. So quite a few years. So we are now paying ourselves a little bit right now. So because I had to quit my full-time job so that I could do this full-time.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that we're doing, but we don't get paid a whole lot, but it does help cover our expenses. It's a lot of work, and we
still work other jobs too.
Right.
Still, yes.
Yeah. So we still have other things, but just understand, people with ALS, we have about 60 volunteers right now, and they're volunteering for the time. There's no way we could do what we do without the volunteers. So our medical professionals are volunteers. People who have the 47 steps, Heather is a volunteer. We have people working on improving the 47 steps every week. So we have a committee that meets Tuesday and Thursday. These are pals and cows. These are people who are helping with that. That's every week. So, they're putting hours and hours are going into improving the 47 steps, improving the website. We have volunteers that are improving the website. We have volunteers that are improving the registry. I mean, it's amazing, all of the volunteers. So we make use of the volunteers, but we still need paid people. And again, we don't pay them much, but the guy who just did that improvement on the page, we have to pay the software guy. This isn't free, guys.
A page costs a lot.
Everything costs a lot. So it adds.
So sorry about that question, but just to clear people's mind, because for example, the work or everything we do here in Brazil up to now has been also coming out of our pockets as well at the same time. So as you say, we have to pay bills, you have to do this. We dedicate a lot of time, not only to research, but to share, to spreading the word and sharing information with people, and unfortunately sometimes it's not appreciated at all, but we do it for love. We do it like you guys, because we know that the world can heal.
Hard drive, right? Hard drives, editing. So how much did you pay for your last hard drive?
I don't even want to go there. much, and of course,
No,
it's
there's a
coming
lot.
pocket.
There's a lot.
There's
Yeah,
no
so-
way
know?
we would be charging pay. We're trying to do as much as free as possible.
Right.
So that
But
we-
that
what
came
we
from
do
donations. So
charge-
just so you understand, now
Now we're getting
all
some
of this,
donations.
you know, like, so when
Finally.
we buy a new hard drive, guess what? That comes out of donations.
Donations.
Because when video is expensive, there's just a lot of video storage right now. We're
Yeah,
making
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
cloud. So all of these things do cost, and it's just and travel costs. We went to the conference, we had to pay, the nonprofit paid, but you know, we went and presented at the conference. Well, the doctors volunteer their time, okay? But we can't expect them to pay their plane fare and the conference fees
Well,
out of their
we-
pocket. That's not fair. So we paid for the conference fees and the plane fare because
Because we need those doctors to
we
speak
need
for
the
you.
doctors to speak to the
and-
neurological conference.
And so we pay for their flight and we pay for they come in free, and it's all out of our pocket, basically.
Not out of pocket, out of a
But it's
nonprofit
out of a
pocket now.
nonprofit
Pocket, yeah,
But
now.
the first conference was coming out of our pocket at first initially.
Yeah,
And then-
so it's just, yeah, so we're working all on that's what we're doing right now. Everything, all of that money comes right into the nonprofit now, so that it's
Yeah.
much better
Excellent.
as of now. And now, you know, the nonprofit is now paying for a lot of this, which is awesome. I mean, this
Right.
never happened before. We've actually we have thanks to a PALS, just to let you know, we have a
Thanks to
single
to help with funding.
key person with ALS. He
And-
got this huge fundraiser for us, and he raised a lot of money for us, which is the only reason we're able to do what we're doing right. We wouldn't be able to afford to do the study without it.
Yes, the study.
Like this
Wow.
study is costing us money. We have to pay people because you know what? People don't fill in their registry. So guess what? If they don't fill in the registry, we can pay somebody to help them fill it in. It's huge. We wouldn't have that otherwise.
Right.
It's
Wow.
it's amazing now. So it's just slowly but surely grown, coming from our hearts, and it's we can do so much more because of these donations and because of the cost. We've also found that people who pay for something appreciate it.
That is absolutely
more.
that is absolutely true. You know,
Yeah.
we have found out also ourselves the hard way. Sometimes we hear a sad story, somebody, you know, outside of what, you know, a friend or somebody, oh, my brother, my mother, my father has cancer or whatever, and we oh, let's give him this supplement, you know, try this supplement for free. They look at the supplement, yeah, I'm gonna take it. Then you ask them 2, 3, 4 days later, have you taken your supplement? No, you know, actually, I don't know.
I
They don't.
forgot, I gave it to my
I
sister,
forget,
and
they
this
don't-
and
they
that. They
don't
don't
appreciate.
appreciate.
No, we did the
So-
same thing. We gave us everyone once, and then he gave it to his mother, and I was like so upset. I was like, wait a minute. We gave it to you, not for your, you know what I mean? This person had ALS, and we gave it to
That's right.
him,
Give it to your
not
mom.
for his mom. And
There's a lot of situations where we're purchasing equipment and giving it away free to others and all of that.
but it's not we, it's the
But
nonprofit now. Yeah, it was
we
a
are
nonprofit, yeah.
encouraging them to have their
Fundraiser.
own personal fundraisers like we
Yeah.
do fundraisers, and it empowers them for
Yeah.
them to buy their own equipment and buy their
Absolutely, yes. Yes,
we
you're
encourage them to
totally
go to
right.
like Team Gleason and see if they can go ahead and request equipment from Team Gleason, which is an organization
Yeah.
that helps so many others from
Yes.
wheels to vans.
The
to-
people that do their own fundraising, people don't want to accept help, but if they get their friends, their neighbors, their church members, and everybody contributes a little bit of money, then they have enough funds for the supplements. Then they have enough funds to get a little bit piece of equipment that's going to help them so that they otherwise couldn't afford. But these fundraisers are important, and you guys can do them.
You cannot, you can't imagine how much we have in our group, for example, in Brazil. Sometimes we see people who are raising, they come out with either a bingo or some kind of a fundraising scheme, some numbers, some lottery, and the reason is they need to pay the water bill, the electricity bill. We're talking about just not the supplement. We're talking about the basics. Somebody who doesn't have a wheelchair is, oh, can anybody help me? I'm missing 20 reais, or I need another 100 reais to be able to pay my electricity bill. This is a very sad situation. So of course, fundraisers are very important. And actually, we're thinking of one because we're starting now with our own webpage, you know, Alternativa.
Finally.
We have already a budget, so we'll talk about this.
Webpage.
But anyway.
It's going to be kind of expensive to do everything that I want to do there, but we
But
are
it's
going
gonna
to
be
do a
beautiful. It's gonna be
fundraising.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's going to
So
be
anyway,
beautiful.
guys, I think we're already a little bit past our time. We want to thank you so much, and appreciate so much your support. We know Saturdays are kind of holy for you guys because you do so much, but thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
We are looking forward to your visit already, to having some very nice conversations, I'm sure. And thank you again, for joining us, everybody who's been here, and I think some people coming in and out of the meeting. We'll be sharing this on a video. I think YouTube can accept it. There's nothing, we haven't talked about anything strange or anything that
Let's
YouTube
talk
will
about
ban.
it now.
No, and I won't start, so no worries. So anyway, thank you for everyone. We will be posting the video very soon, and next week we're going to be. Let me announce it already. We're going to be interviewing Alan Ruskowski, who's come up. He's a brilliant scientist who was one of the persons in charge of developing MRIs. So he's a genius guy. He has come up with a device, not him come up, seems like something he snapped his fingers. He's been working
Talking
on
about the
it.
glycation and the product.
Exactly. So we're going to be
Glycation
talking
and the
about
product, really
glycation
important subject.
and insulin resistance and so on. So it's going to be really very interesting. I hope you join us. And and it will be a video as well. So thank you again, guys.
Thank
Anybody?
you, Pete. Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
See you
Thank
later.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna make you co-host so you can end it instead
Yes,
of
you
me.
can make me host
Yes,
and then I
please.
can.
Yeah,
close
can
it.
you, I can end the meeting, but if you call me, I can show you how to make people co-host.
Transfer her co-host. Go to
I'll make you
participants.
co-host a second.
There we go. And now she's.
Not because of the recording.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
okay. Tabitha, you're back in charge.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.